Hello, teacher and peers. My name is Sebastian Jimenez, and I'm going to tell you about my curriculum lecture. It is teaching for understanding the year abroad through a first thing to reflect learning. First, what is the year abroad? Well, studying a full year abroad is a new kid experience that, in addition to allowing language learning, it is interesting to an almost bilingual level, offer the student the opportunity to have a full immersion in a totally different culture from their own involves an important personal uh, growth and development returns to your country with greater confidence in yourself, with international and lasting friendship, and with a certainty of having life one of the most important and successful experience of your life. It is pedagogical idea underlining to read abroad is not realized a huge loss of learning for students both personally and academically may results. One of them will a challenge for the post-secondary teacher is to important enough knowledge to send students abroad curious and interested in learning about the culture. Um, Creating a scaffold for further learning without enforcing any stereotypes that will hinder students going deeper into culture. The teacher must be creating a curriculum to help improve self-reflective learning and without abroad without forcing in a student to develop ability to recognize process, working to help or hinder their individual learning outcomes. In this light, the scholarship of teaching and learning framework is helpful to examine well, what one is the teaching and how teaching can be improved with this end in mind. And an equally important step this study was to establish what my course designed for the GA were achieving or not achieving in terms of teaching and learning goals. To this end, two courses devised to prepare undergraduate students for GA were analyzed and evaluated, and for another pillar to study cohorts where participants in this evaluation names are any European students. For example, significant difference emerge in terms of the quality learning experience between these groups. This difference is important for curricular design considerations will be discussed later. Overall, the stepping stones to the curriculum suggested in this paper are based on the following pillars. For example, one of them is analysis of the current GA curriculum to establish that works and what does, certainly, and why students are not wasting their time during the GA by examining obstacles to the learning experience during the GA, drawing on previous teaching and learning and research, utilizing and integrating knowledge on self-regulation and self-ownership, and applying this to the GA students. My studies showed that GA students needs to become more directly involved in their learning while abroad, taking ownership for their individual learning goals based on research on teaching and learning. In the proposed curriculum focuses of focusing ideas on self-regulation and self-ownership. The feedback from two recent GA courses infer the first pillar of curriculum revision. The first course, intercultural learning, through literally a media test ran in the academic year in 2009 and 2010 It was designed for arts students in 4-year program and divided into parts. Each lasting 12 weeks. In part what content relevant to the GA were covered, including intercultural complement and contrasting select models. Another one is intercultural learning, concept and process. And the last one is reactions to living abroad and adjustment strategies. In this sample of students, academic adjustment challenges were notable and began outside of the classroom before the commencement of the semester, with uses such as registration for courses, which wasn't certainly organized abroad as a home, as a running through the interview script. What is the language challenge students face in university? Comments revolves around understanding content through the foreign language L2 and the adapting to a different academic system. Another thing to relevant is in the in-class experience required adjusting to the high levels of the class participation by German students, for example. However, there was evidence of positive academic and intellectual actions with the students commenting of different teaching methods and styles. As already identified in Sojourners and GA lecture, staging in groups with connationals in considers understandable, it is created a barrier to understanding house nationalities. Irish students who remain in English-speaking circles didn't break away from familiar interactions patterns of engage to any great extent with the host culture on a deeper level. Finding shows that the speaking level to the language was a repeat challenge for Irish students, particularly in the early months and abroad. This may be one reason why students from the German students choose to speak English with them, despite their attempts to keep conversation in L2. It is important to mention that to address the first problem of the students following to see their relevance of their studies, intercultural concepts prior of the GA, the concept of the intercultural answer inquiry, and it is about IAI is adopted to this tool first proposed in an intercultural learning environment by Stefan Kahnhammer in 2000 in Germany, and use critical incidents to stimulate reflective learning, and it is adaptation of cold research in 1984. And the IAA resonates with Brown's idea and helping students be active learners in the classroom. The IAI particularly relevant in high of the feedback by business students who largely fails to any relevance of studying J concepts and fake concepts with approach design to stimulate reflection intercultural learning. To use the critical incident method of teaching and learning in preparing students for the JA, critical incidents are extrapolated from the interview data with Irish students during their GA in Germany. These critical incidents are present to students preparing for their GA and used to facilitate instant motivation and critical reflections. Another thing is the IAI offers a helpful non-prescriptive tool to build a necessary bridge between theory and practice, showing students the relevance of intercultural concepts and how they will be beneficial to the students during their GA. Integrating this method into the new curriculum will create learning motivation and build scaffold for students to use this knowledge during their GA. The second problem relevant by this study is that students are not meeting their GA goals. For example, in regards the language acquisition and cultural understanding, sorry, the obstacles which prevent a student from achieve their GA goals will require adjustment to the curriculum both in order to raise students. To address the problem, it's averted by language patterns and choice some solutions below. A student will be encouraged to break away from English speaking circles. In particular, the student will be made aware of danger of standing in English speaking circles. Well, finally, the students' media practice and frequent trips home, creating ability to fully experiencing their GA in order to raise students' awareness of this problem. They will be challenged to think about the use of their time after the university day and encouraged to reflect about their online language practice. A student will be encouraged to switch the language of their media practice to German and write a daily analog on German. Furthermore, specific information on job and placement without agencies in German and Australia will be provided to motivate students to spend their holiday season in their host country. Well, in my opinion, in my conclusion, there are numbers of caveats the curriculum approach suggested. Yes, in the classroom, one must bear in mind that teaching and acquiring intercultural competence cannot be product orientated, and there exists no definite end product. And the teaching and learning process has to be carefully planned, not only for each single class, but also for the overall learning sequences. And the learning must be provided with a rich experiential and contributions and learning environments, tailored, for example, in order to lay a foundation to develop here is necessary complex and dynamical third place, and in spite of the prejudice and drawbacks of the artificial classroom situation. For example, in the organization in OECD, the Organization to Economic Cooperation and Development, figures show that student mobility it is on increase in use of teaching and learning in academic particular will become more topical as the time goes on, provide a different view on what Erasmus the preparation more academic, administrative and financial support for the students will abroad, closer links between higher education and the employment systems, and a stronger efforts to make benefits visible. The authors conclude that the Erasmus program will have better change in the future, and it becomes again more ambitious as it's a far quality of experience in abroad. Well, that is my critical reflection about my topic. I hope to like you. I hope to like it. And thank you for watching.